I almost died because my wife decided her sister's wedding mattered more than my survival. The urologist slid the scan across his desk and tapped a bright, irregular white spot lodged in my kidney, an atom stone shaped like broken glass that had been quietly shredding me from the inside for weeks, the source of the back pain I'd brushed off as stress. He explained it was far too big to pass on its own, already obstructing flow, and my kidney performance was sliding fast. Surgery had to happen within days or I risked irreversible harm. The price tag hit $12,000 since our high-deductible plan hadn't been met yet. Still, I felt calm driving home. Emily and I had spent years being disciplined with money, always splitting expenses evenly, feeding our joint emergency account with equal commitment, discussing every big expense openly. 6 years of marriage had taught me we were a team, so the nearly $18,000 we'd scraped together through skipped trips and modest living felt like the perfect safety net for exactly this crisis. I stepped into our place and saw her at the kitchen table, laptop glowing, wedding binders and floral inspiration boards everywhere. I thought it was kind that she was supporting her sister Laura so close to the big day, only 10 days away. I sat opposite her, laid out the whole diagnosis, the stone, the blockage, the urgent procedure, the recovery outlook, and watched worry crease her forehead. She asked sensible things about downtime and medication, and for a moment I felt deeply grateful to have someone solid beside me. Then I mentioned the withdrawal. We'll take the $12,000 from savings. That's precisely why we built it, isn't it? Her face changed instantly, a flash of alarm mixed with shame that turned my insides cold before she spoke. Words tumbled out. Laura's venue had jacked up fees, catering demanded more upfront, Daniel's relatives had pulled their share. 3 weeks earlier Laura had broken down in tears, terrified her dream wedding would collapse after invitations and dress were already done. In that instant Emily chose to rescue her little sister because family helps family. So she quietly moved $14,000 into Laura's account as a repayable loan, with a signed note promising return plus interest in 6 months. She swore she meant to tell me soon, but the moment never felt right. I asked why she would touch such a large sum, our shared safety net, without a single conversation, and she said she knew I'd analyze it endlessly and probably say no. The fight that erupted stretched 3 brutal hours and moved through every corner of the apartment. I stressed that this wasn't jealousy over her sister. It was about solo choices that endangered both of us, about draining the exact fund meant for health disasters like mine right now. She kept repeating the same defenses. Laura would repay everything with extra, weddings happen once. My operation could slide 1 week while she found other cash. You're not dying, it's only a kidney stone. Tons of people handle them. I showed her the doctor's notes screaming urgent surgical intervention, the highlighted warnings about declining function and sepsis danger. She glanced and shrugged, insisting 1 extra week for Laura's special occasion wouldn't kill me. You can wait. It's her moment. Hearing her state my health as something bargainable against party plans cracked something permanent inside. I slept in the spare room that night, unable to share space with her. Over the following 48 hours my symptoms worsened sharply, yet I was trapped, needing a procedure I suddenly couldn't fund because she had given our buffer away. The pain sharpened into knife-like stabs that stole my breath. Fever climbed, and I monitored it constantly. Emily saw me fading but downplayed everything, handing me pain pills, murmuring I'd bounce back, meanwhile reminding me hourly about Laura's upcoming rehearsal events she had to organize. On the third morning I woke drenched in sweat, insides on fire. In the bathroom my urine appeared pink and murky. Temperature hit 103, 2 degrees F. I recognized the combination the doctor had warned about. Fever plus Blood-tinged urine plus obstruction equals brewing infection that could turn septic fast and become lethal. I messaged my brother Chris, then ordered an Uber to the ER. Emily had already left for dress fittings, and I refused to delay. The emergency physician reviewed my records, saw the labs, and started heavy IV antibiotics at once, saying early sepsis was confirmed and emergency surgery was non-negotiable, operating room as soon as one opened. They rushed me to ICU, lines everywhere, monitors alarming while staff swarmed. I texted Emily the update. 3 hours passed before she replied she'd visit after the rehearsal dinner because Laura desperately needed her right then, and the doctors had me covered. I didn't answer. They were wheeling me to surgery and the truth had finally settled. She had picked a wedding over my life. Allowed me to spiral toward organ failure rather than own her financial mistake, valued centerpieces over my kidney survival. Around 8 p.m. They rolled me in. I pictured her laughing at a restaurant, raising glasses to the couple while I drifted under, unsure whether the kidney or the infection would win. The final sound before blackout was a nurse mentioning my wife had phoned to inquire. I felt only emptiness where affection once lived. While she styled her hair for the rehearsal, I battled an infection that honesty about the money 3 weeks earlier could have stopped. I surfaced 3 days later, riddled with drains and lines, side throbbing like I'd been beaten. The nurse said surgery lasted longer than planned because infection had crept further. They preserved the kidney, but harm was substantial. I'd been out most of 72 hours while my system fought sepsis. "You're fortunate to be breathing," she said, words that rang true. "Another few hours and I might have been gone." My brother Chris sat beside the bed, exhausted, having driven 6 hours the night I texted from ER and staying ever since. He said Emily appeared once while I was unconscious, lingered maybe 20 minutes mostly texting wedding logistics, left cheap convenience store flowers, and promised to return. He nearly asked her to leave, but held back in ICU. Billing later explained total charges neared $18,000. Emergency, Nature Plus extended critical care meant out-of-pocket maximum was shattered despite insurance, leaving me with years of debt. I kept replaying how $18,000 sat untouched 3 weeks prior, enough to cover planned surgery comfortably. Instead, I lay recovering from preventable catastrophe and staring at ruinous bills because a celebration ranked higher. Emily arrived that afternoon in a fresh sundress, smile faltering the moment she saw me. She asked about discomfort and meals with rehearsed concern, yet her attention drifted. Then came the sentence that ended us. "I'm relieved you're improving, but did the surgery really have to happen exactly then? The wedding's in 3 days and I've hardly supported Laura at all." She spoke as though my near death was an inconsiderate scheduling error we could have coordinated around. I reminded her sepsis is frequently fatal. Doctors said 6 more hours might have finished me. She dismissed it. Physicians always inflate risks for legal protection. "Clearly you're okay since you're awake talking." She called the timing inconvenient for everyone. In that instant, she became a stranger wearing my wife's face. Someone whose values were so alien, we could never align again. After she left, I stared upward, replaying 6 years of overlooked red flags. Occasions she favored her family over our partnership, made choices alone, brushed my worries aside as excessive. I'd excused it as devotion to kin. Now I saw the unhealthy entanglement where her sister's desires always outweighed my genuine necessities. That evening, I phoned my attorney from the hospital bed. "Mr. Reynolds listened to the bare facts. Unauthorized transfer, postponed care, sepsis outcome, wedding placed above survival." He called it textbook financial infidelity. Courts view it gravely, especially when one partner's actions cause direct bodily harm. Divorce grounds were clear, medical fallout strengthened it. He also floated a conversion claim against Laura for knowingly accepting disputed funds. The notion felt extreme yet justified. I authorized both paths. Papers were prepared digitally. Medical records, bank statements, timeline became evidence of tangible damage. 2 days later, I signed electronically, still tethered to monitors, while he arranged service on Emily and legal notice to the venue regarding contested money. I understood it would detonate the wedding. By then I no longer cared. The venue froze everything pending dispute resolution, citing potential proceeds from unauthorized sources. Chaos followed. Laura rang Emily. Emily rang me, voicemail exploding with fury. I was annihilating her family, spiteful, unforgivable for sabotaging Laura's dream day. I let her rage until it dissolved into theatrical sobs. When she quieted, I spoke once. "You told me to delay life-saving surgery for your sister's party. You let me nearly die. Now you're angry I won't delay ending our marriage." Silence, then softer begging, just one more week so Laura could marry, then we'd fix us. I said the event was already dead and disconnected mid-plea. Nurses later noted my vitals stabilized after that call, blood pressure normalized for the first time since admission. Apparently freedom from the relationship was literally healthier than remaining inside it. The wedding was scrapped that night. Chris reported Daniel ended not only the ceremony, but the entire engagement after learning Laura accepted $14,000 from a sister without confirming it was consensual, especially from someone facing illness. When confronted, her hesitation confirmed suspicion. He said he refused a future with someone who'd take from a sick person for decorations, then left. Emily tried calling 6 more times over 2 days. I blocked her after alternating tirades and desperate messages. Her mom left guilt-tripping voicemails about wrecking the family over a minor health scare, ignoring sepsis and permanent injury. I erased them unread. Discharge came after 8 days with pages of restrictions, wound instructions, prescriptions, and monitoring schedule. Chris drove me back to our, now my, apartment. Emily had removed roughly half her belongings in obvious anger, leaving drawers gaping and chaos behind. A note blamed me for destroying both sisters' futures over repayable money. I tossed it. That night I slept in our old bed, side aching, heart broken, yet calmer than I'd felt in a long time. The marriage and the wedding were gone, only the start of the fallout. The divorce was finalized 11 weeks later, a stretch that felt eternal yet lightning fast depending on the hour. I used those weeks healing physically, PT 3 times weekly, while legally dismantling what remained, meeting Mr. Reynolds regularly. Kidney tests showed roughly 40% permanent loss on the affected side. Lifelong monitoring, diet changes, medication caution would follow, all traceable to one choice: celebration over spouse. The separate suit against Laura came the next week. Emily's attorney coached a victim narrative, casting me as controlling and punitive. Divorce morning, I wore my only suit that still fit after hospital weight loss. Mr. Reynolds said the judge had digested every document, labs, finances, chronology, and our position was strong. The proceeding was starkly ordinary. Questions, answers, wood-paneled room heavy with regret. Emily sat opposite, dressed modestly, aiming for sympathy. Her counsel claimed equal right to marital funds. Family loans were routine, my crisis unforeseeable. Mr. Reynolds methodically countered with dates. Transfer predated diagnosis by 3 weeks, concealment. Refusal to repay even knowing surgery was critical. Then showed texts dismissing my urgency as drama, hospital proof of near death. The judge, a composed woman in her 60s, delivered a chilly verdict. Though assets usually split evenly, Emily's conduct breached marital trust and endangered life. She assigned Emily 60% of medical costs, payable over time, denied spousal maintenance, ordered immediate $7,000 repayment from marital division. Her attorney protested severity. The judge silenced him, prioritizing festivities over a spouse's survival forfeited leniency. Emily blanched. The Laura hearing felt rower. She attended with their mother glaring daggers. Her side argued gift, no knowledge of my illness, informal family help needing no spousal okay. Our side produced messages between sisters anticipating my anger yet proceeding, and crucially, Laura's voicemail questioning whether I truly consented because Daniel was growing wary. That recording shattered her claim of innocence. Judgment: full $14,000 plus interest repaid, $400 monthly wage garnishment until cleared. Laura wept. Susan erupted, yelling I was petty and ashamed for ruining a young woman over cash. Bailiff removed them. Afterward the dominoes fell hard. No rescheduled wedding. Daniel proposed to a coworker within 10 months. Laura juggled 2 jobs to cover garnishment, while sharing a cramped apartment with Emily, event planning career gone after lawsuit publicity. Emily worked call center shifts, slept on a living room air mattress, paid my bills slowly over roughly 4.5 years. Their mother spun tales of me destroying her girls over an overblown medical episode, conveniently omitting organ damage. Mutual friends mostly distanced themselves after hearing the full sequence. 6 months post-divorce, I adopted a scruffy orange tabby from the shelter and named him Kidney, dark humor my therapist didn't love. He asked nothing complicated, just kibble and warmth, and his quiet company stitched something broken inside me. Physically, I remained limited. Fatigue came quicker, protein watched closely, checkups routine. The specialist predicted decades of decent function if careful, though future trouble would hit harder from a weakened baseline. Financially, the hole was deep. Medical plus legal neared $30,000 despite court help. Yet I scraped a modest house down payment from settlement proceeds. Each mortgage installment reminded me I'd escaped further unilateral choices. Late nights, I sometimes returned to the ICU moment, tubes and drains in place while she fussed over seating charts, and felt grief laced with gratitude. Marriage, health portion, savings chunk, all gone. But I gained unshakable clarity. Never again would I allow anyone to treat my existence as optional. When people ask whether I regret hospital bed divorce papers or acted too hastily, my reply stays identical. When your spouse begs you to postpone surgery that could save your life so her sister can have decorations and cake, you don't pause to reconsider. You save yourself immediately.